What's up, guys? Welcome back to another SHOKY Quickie with a Star Trek ship from EAGLEMOSS. And this one is another one from Discovery, and it's pretty obviously the USS Discovery, the NCC-1031. So, very cool. So it's actually older than the Enterprise, which I think is pretty interesting in and of itself. It's a good sized box. You got Star Trek Discovery, the Hero Collector. And you got Star Trek, EAGLEMOSS. It's like it doesn't want to focus on text. It's just because it's so shiny. Discovery! It's pretty cool. And, oh, look. I even said it here. So this one is newer, so it actually includes Discovery and Picard. So this is definitely one of the newer ships. Definitely, of course, in my collection. And obligatory magazine. So the Discovery is interesting in that it's one of only two experimental ships that had a spore drive, a alternate faster than light drive that allowed them to transport across the galaxy pretty much in an instant using fungus. Yes. Travels the stars on a network made of mushrooms. Alright, so class, Crossfield. Length 750 meters. That's pretty long. Captains, Lorca and Pike. That's true. Yeah. Experimental spore drive. I just said that. Of course, this is before the refit that happened much later. There you go. And of course, see how to put the stand in place. You get a nice image of the Discovery there. Crossfield class. There's the length. We've got phaser, photon torpedoes, fusion reaction impulse drive, antimatter warp drive. So that's standard warp. And you got spore drive, Gabriel Lorca and Christopher Pike, and it lost in action in 2257. That's true. And then, realistically, you get all of the read-up on the Discovery from within the series, how it came about. One thing that's very interesting is that the Discovery design actually was made for a future design of an Enterprise based off of, like, this weird triangular shape that somebody came up with for, like, Star Trek. It's supposed to be like a Star Trek 6 or 7, or whatever the next one would have been for the original cast. And then, you know, how they always really modify things. And I'm not even sure what this thing actually is right here. Yeah, I don't know exactly what this is. Maybe it's just other versions of it with the thing. There's a cool shot of it there. How they wanted it higher or lower. It had kind of a flying wing vibe to it with the nacelles way out front. And of course, at some point, they wanted the nacelles with the long end pointed forward. And then they changed that, of course. I don't know when the spore drive came into concept, but that was a neat idea. So there's another like 3D rendering of it. It's pretty neat. And then a bit more work done to it here. Then how they came up with the different designs for it. That's pretty cool. And then ultimately how she came about. Now, one thing that's interesting about the Discovery is it has a huge shuttle bay way back here that has shuttles that are just stored somewhere. I have no idea where. I always wondered. So let's go get her. And there she is in all her strange bronze glory. So that is something definitely more interesting about the Discovery is the color scheme. Because I don't remember, its sister ship was called the Wells, I believe. And I don't know if it was the same color or a different color, but you also see the designs on her. And at first I thought this was a really stupid design, but the longer I watched the show, the more it definitely grew on me. And what's really funny about it, it has those enormously long warp nacelles. And while it can go definitely a high rate of warp, that's not what's important about it. What's important about it is the spore drive, which has nothing to do with the nacelles, in fact. You know, it actually basically transports itself across the mycelial network. Definitely some cool tech they played with, and then, of course, spoilers, it becomes the only ship with the spore drive for many different reasons, and then they even get to a point where they literally cannot replicate how they use the spore drive at all. It gets a little complicated. So let's go ahead and take a look at this like kind of bronzy golden beauty here. Okay, so let's get her off the stand. Once again, you do have to lightly assemble this one. It doesn't really want to sit in its hole properly, and it's very tight on there. I'm very scared that eventually it's going to scrape paint. In fact, I think it already has, like right here and right here. So the body is almost entirely die cast. I think only the nacelles. Nacelles are definitely plastic, and then even kind of hard to tell. I thought the saucer section was die cast, but I guess that's actually plastic. So one thing that's crazy, so they made it to where you can barely read the ship's livery here, but in a series it's like very bright white, so it like really stands out, which is different because almost all other ships are either black or a gray. It's one of the weird design aspects of the ship, and you can see the heavy Aztecing reflecting there, which I'm cool with. And then I like the kind of goldish outside and then more of a brownish bronze to the inside. And this is the actual bridge here, and you see all the windows going around. Now, one thing that's very interesting, the way it uses the spore drive, these sections here spin to turn up some type of energy. So the outer ring spins one way and the inner ring spins another. The way that works, it makes electricity happen, and then it like does a like literal like spinning, like an actual barrel roll motion, and then it goes and then disappears into lightning, and then it just appears elsewhere. It's pretty freaking cool. Come underside, they make sure the letters are a little bit smaller, because this is actually really ridiculously big for how big the ship is. So each one of these letters is like a few meters, which is crazy. Now, one thing I find interesting is that they did not continue this brown under here, and I feel like they should have, because they kind of do here. It's almost a fade, like from the gold up to brown up under here. That's cool. They even get the NCC-1031 there, and then it's got a little bitty deflector with the thing sticking out, just kind of cool. And then I think there was a maybe it was in this one, but where originally it was one color and then they changed it to blue, and it's also got these blue areas right here. Not entirely certain what those are. You get the windows all decked out. You get the nacelles with some translucent and then painted on top of, and I like this single like streak down the side. That's really badass. Then you come to the back and you got the impulse engines that are red with some stuff there, and then you get little bitty letters. It's actually poking the camera. It says 1031 there. This is the huge shuttle bay, which is pretty cool. And then you get all the Art Deco design on the back here. I really do dig it. Like, it's a very, very unique ship, and the fact that it's based off of an unused Enterprise design is really cool. I mean, modified obviously, to have these ridiculous nacelles. That's just something else. I might have to like soften these edges a little bit. Like, that's like got a ridge to it. It bothers me. Like, it is scary tight. Like I don't know if I can. Yeah, that just begs to scrape the crap out of this guy. So I feel like I need to like cover that with some tape or something. Like, I've got some clear packing tape that will probably work, and it'll just keep it from scraping to a degree. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Don't make me do it. Oh god. Oh god. Okay. That's more or less good. It's not a tight fit either, so it's a little awkward. So let's bring in, for comparison, actually let's keep her here, so you get a really nice shot of the livery there. So let's bring in the actual Enterprise from Discovery. Now, thing is, these two are actually very similar in size. So the fact that they're limiting it to length here is why it looks a little wonky. But I think in some aspects, Discovery is almost exactly the same size. Like the actual saucer section and stuff like that, I believe is supposed to be the same size. Obviously, it's a much sleeker profile than the Enterprise, but these two are actually pretty close to how they would be. So, I mean, even in universe here, I will definitely call it good enough. And also for it being early days kind of still of Starfleet. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going by the numbers. Like, literally, you know, you've got 1031 and then 1701. Yeah, they're very close. And then, of course, you bring in the other Enterprise, which has nothing to do with anything in this particular case, except it's still in the main timeline, as it were. Yeah. There we go. Get a much higher shot there. So once again, how you see how they go for length, but given how long the Discovery is, it's pretty absurd next to that. And the very like sleek, almost hot rodness of it. And you can see, let me come down to be parallel here. Like, assuming these are almost the same size, you can see like how sleek and low profile this guy is compared to that one even. Just crazy. Yeah, I'm scared to keep putting the thingies on there where it's going to take off paint. But like, this ship grew on me, especially throughout the series. Like, I didn't think it would, but I also love, and the underside is just pretty. I can have it go this way. That was an old trick. It's like, hey, turn it upside down. Turn it upside down and flip the nacelles and see what happens. But yeah, like I didn't know, like it took me way too long to get around to watching the series, not to mention I had no good way to watch it because it was on the stupid CBS All Access, and then when I found out I could watch it on UK Netflix, I was definitely down. So I was very happy I watched the series, and I'm very happy that I picked up this ship. Now I do have another ship on order from Discovery, which should be pretty cool in and of itself. It had a lot of cool early designs from Starfleet that we never saw. Of course, this is just adding to canon to a time period that we are very unfamiliar with. But I mean, just look at this thing. I mean, it almost takes on the shape of the actual Starfleet emblem, you know? So let me know what you guys think. What do you think about the Discovery's oddball design, and of course the really cool technology inherent in its design and systems? And if you've seen the series, where does it weigh in Star Trek series for you in particular? Because it's up there. It was really well produced, well written. There's some very cheesy stuff in the third season, some really predictable stuff in the third season, but overall, like, I really did dig what they did with the whole series as it goes. And of course, I really dig this. But I will catch you guys on the next one. Make sure you go watch the rest of the EAGLEMOSS reviews. There's a few, and I have more coming because frankly, I was passing up on them, and they were sort of just disappearing. And I got this one at Big Bad Toy Store with all the rest. So if you want to pick them up there, by all means. I do need to get me a DS9 before it disappears, because I have to have a DS9 in my collection. But I will see you guys next time. And remember, as always, make it so.